All right. So we will get started, doctor, or should we wait? I think we can get started and honor the time of who have joined on time, and we'll see if more parents join in.
Just a minute, I'll just see if the slideshow is moving because sometimes it creates a problem.
No problem. You see that, and then I'll just speak for a minute and then hand over to you. It's all fine. It looks
Yeah,
very
it's
nice.
fine. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. So good evening, parents. Thank you for joining in. Today we have Dr. Lalit Mittal with us. Just give me a while to introduce him. So Dr. Lalit Mittal is director of Giggles Clinics and co-director of My Own Space. He's a neurodevelopmental pediatrician. We all know he's a consultant pediatrician at Fortis Hospital, New Delhi, and a specialist in pediatric nutrition. So he has an experience of more than 10 years in dealing with children on autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, and other developmental disorders. He has immense interest in autism, especially the biomedical approaches on which he has interacted with a lot of parents through webinars and seminars. So we all know that Dr. Lalit takes great interest and initiative in engaging with the parents. So it is on this regard that in this regard that he also comes on Harsha platform. We are very lucky to have him. So Harsha from NutriNeuron is a pan-India social responsibility ecosystem that aims to empower the parents of children on autism spectrum disorder and ADHD. So on that note, I would like to say that the topic today is how to distinguish between hyperactivity and ADHD. So this is a question that boggles, many parents, especially as on today, many parents are, boggled with the question between how to know. And there was a time when I interact with parents, I have seen that sometimes there was a perception that a kid who is hyperactive is perceived to be very, healthy and energetic also, that there has been some concepts or notions around that. So now it becomes extremely important for the parents to know how to distinguish whether it is a matter of concern or not. So over to you, Dr. Lalit. We are all eager to hear it out from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Deepamita. Thank you for the wonderful intro about Harsha and me. So, yes, indeed, first of all, I would like to say good evening to every parents and participants who have joined. So, yes, definitely, this topic is quite of concern for the parents as well as for the caregivers. That if the child is hyperactive, does he meet in the criteria of ADHD, or how to distinguish whether it's a true ADHD or it is an hyperactivity as a notorious child, or it may be as a part of spectrum, or it may be sensory issues. We don't know that, so we'll try to figure it out how we can narrow our approach towards a true ADHD child. So it will be basically more of an interactive session. It will not be a webinar. So there are just 2 to 3 slides to make you explain that what are the differentials, how we can make an hyperactive retention to go into the various causes. So first and foremost important thing is hyperactivity or inattention. Now there is
Doctor, I'm so sorry. I'll just interrupt you.
yeah,
There's a small request that because we don't have too many slides to cover. Probably the important part or takeaways for the parents, if you could repeat in Hindi also.
okay, sure.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My voice is audible. It's clear.
It is clear to me. Someone from audience, would you like to confirm? Is doctor clear?
Yes, ma'am, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, I was saying. So how we can distinguish? First of all, what is hyperactivity? Hyperactivity या inattention क्या होता है? Now इसके लिए हमारे पास कोई clear cut guidelines नहीं है. अब ये person to person या child to child vary कर सकता है. Now hyperactivity अगर हम general में बात करें, a child is considered to be hyperactive when he is more active than his usual activity. So हम definitely बोलते हैं बच्चा hyperactive है. अब सिमिलरली अगर हम बात करें ADHD, नाउ ADHD इज अ कंफर्मेटरी और अ मेडिकल डायग्नोसिस. यहाँ पे हमारी I would request to kindly mute yourself, participants. Otherwise, there will be a lot of disturbance. Yeah, thank you. So, hyperactivity हमारे पास कोई क्लियर कट डेफिनेशन नहीं है, ना ही वो हमारे DSM क्राइटेरिया में फिट होता है, लेकिन ADHD जरूर फिट होता है. तो ADHD की अगर हम बात करते हैं, उसके डेफिनेटिव क्राइटेरिया हैं, उसका एक डेफिनेटिव डायग्नोस्टिक क्राइटेरिया होता है. अगर वो मीट करता है तो ही हम बच्चे को बोलते हैं वो ADHD है. नाउ द प्रॉब्लम इज ADHD में एक बहुत बड़ा कंपोनेंट आता है हाइपर एक्टिविटी. and inattention. लेकिन वो जानना बहुत जरूरी होता है. It becomes very very important to know that whether that hyperactivity fits in that ADHD diagnostic criteria or not. The thing to remember is every hyperactive child is not an ADHD, but every ADHD child is an hyperactive. This is the most important thing we should remember from the end of this discussion, that हर जो बच्चा hyperactive होता है वो ADHD नहीं होगा और सारे ADHD बच्चे hyperactive होते हैं. अब हमारा कंसर्न होता है जो हमारे बच्चे hyperactive हैं उनमें से कौन से हैं those who are fitting into the ADHD. अगर वो ADHD में फिट होते हैं then our approach is different. नहीं होते then our approach is different. So this is one thing. अब हाइपर एक्टिविटी के क्या क्या कॉजेस हो सकते हैं अदर देन ADHD. अब हम ADHD को कुछ समय के लिए विल कीप इट असाइड, फॉरगेट अबाउट दिस ADHD, just think about what are the hyperactivity causes can be. First of all, now here I will be dealing more in terms of autism in relation to ADHD, क्योंकि बहुत many a times we see autism बच्चा है hyperactive definitely होगा और क्यों होगा वो हम देखते हैं. तो because of that hyperactivity, inattention, बात नहीं सुनना, we label it as invariably as in ADHD. So we say बच्चे को autism है with ADHD component. But that may not be a true unless and until we don't do a confirmatory diagnosis like we do it for autism. So अब hyperactivity causes क्या होते हैं? One important, more important thing is sensory processing. हमको पता है हर बच्चा जो स्पेक्ट्रम में होता है they have sensory processing issues. अब sensory processing क्या होता है? Just a line about that. Sensory processing, you know that we have 9 sensory systems. To mention a few like vestibular, tactile, proprioceptive, interoceptive. So in total there are 9 sensory systems. Now, sensory processing disorder means the child is not able to modulate or express the senses from within and outside the body for himself. So कहने का मतलब ये है कि बच्चे को फॉर एग्जांपल अगर मैं आपको बात करूं इंटेरोसेप्टिव सेंसरी एक हमारा सिस्टम होता है लाइक प्रोप्रियोसेप्टिव. इंटेरोसेप्टिव मींस एन इंटरनल फीलिंग ऑफ अ चाइल्ड टू नो दैट दिस इज रॉन्ग, दिस इज राइट. फॉर एग्जांपल हम जब खाना खाते हैं तो हमको कुछ टाइम के बाद वी फील दैट नो इफ आई ईट वन मोर चपाती आई विल वॉमिट आउट. So I have that. I got that sense. If I'll take one more chapati, I'll vomit out. So as a result, I'll stop that. But this thing is not there in children who are on the spectrum. The interoceptive senses may be weak or maybe not mature enough. So many a times parents might have seen कि वो इतना खाता है इतना ज़्यादा कि उसको पता ही नहीं होता. Continuously खाता रहेगा उसको, मतलब you will be astonished to see वो 5-5 6-6 रोटी खा लेगा या पूरे दिन उसको चरना है. He want to eat something. There should be something in his mouth. Or he doesn't know that I am feeling hungry or I am overfed. He doesn't know. Ultimately, he will vomit out or he will start doing gas. So this is one thing. Other thing होती है हमारी जो मैं interoceptive का बताया. Now other things which can happen is this hyperactive component like sensory issues में we can say like proprioceptive issues. It can be tactile issues. It can be vestibular issues. So these are the various things which can happen as a part of the spectrum. Now literature says कि जो बच्चे spectrum में होते हैं 75% of the kids who are in the spectrum have sensory processing disorder. 75%. This is the literature documentation. Sensory processing, I have told you, if any of the senses is affected, either it will be proprioceptive, tactile, vestibular. And among all these 9 senses, the most important or dominant ones are proprioceptive, tactile, and vestibular. अगर ये 3 senses हमारी affected है, then definitely our other senses like auditory, etc., and etc., smell will be affected. So literature says 75% of the spectrum kids have SPDs, but practically speaking, in my practice and practically speaking, there is not a single child who is on the spectrum will not have sensory issues. So हर बच्चा जो autism spectrum में है, definitely he will have sensory issues practically. Now, because of that sensory issues, the child may go into a state of hyperactivity. He may be inattentive, he may be restless. So the important thing to rule out, does that hyperactivity issues, does that inattention issues are having as a result of sensory. So coming into the causes of hyperactivity or inattention other than ADHD are first, as I mentioned in this slide, hyperactivity. It can be due to proprioceptive issues. Proprioceptive मतलब बच्चे को बहुत ज़्यादा pressure चाहिए. So as a result, he may be continuously jumping on the floor. That may be requiring the vestibular input also. इधर से उधर भागना, jumping करना, हाई एल्टीट्यूड्स पे चढ़ना, सोफे पे, दीवारों पे चढ़ना, उसको पता नहीं मैं गिर जाऊंगा, इट डजंट हैव दैट फियर, बट ही विल बी डू दैट, एंड वी विल लेबल इट एज एन हाइपर एक्टिव चाइल्ड कि उसको एडीएचडी या हाइपर एक्टिव. But that hyperactivity may be because of those sensory issues like proprioceptive, tactile, vestibular, which may be giving him a sensory overload. That may result in meltdown and etc. That we are not going to that. Other things may be inattention. Sorry. Yeah. So other things may be. It is visible now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay. Yeah. So another thing can be inattention. Now, inattention is another big problem where we make we often get confused with auditory processing disorder. Now, there is a big problem in children who have auditory processing issues. Auditory processing issues means the human voice gets masked in the presence of any other voice. A simple example to give you, for example, एक बच्चा है, he is very fond of mathematics, and you are making him teach a very good concept which is very fond of, for example, multiplication of 1 2 3, for example, and आप उसको बोल रहे हो लिखो 1 लिखो 2, वो कर रहा है. Suddenly there is some noise coming from the background. It may be a music, or it may be a child playing. Definitely every child gets distracted, but that distraction may not be for more than a few seconds or so. If you tell him, he will be returned back to his study and concentrate. But the child with an auditory processing issues may take a long time to return back. He may be looking here and there. He may be distracted. He may be start showing, escape behaviors. I don't want to do that. So why? Because your voice is not being perceived by the child in front of or in the presence of any other voice. Human voice gets perceived, gets masked in the presence of any other voice. So that is a typical of an auditory processing issues. As a result of that, that inattention which is coming in a child, we might label it as an ADHD. Or along with that, they may be escape behaviors, they may be avoidance behaviors, which are very particular in a child spectrum. In spectrum, generally there are 5 types of causes for which the child may start doing behaviors. First and foremost is attention seeking. He may be always want to seek an attention with any person who is very lenient in him. Now that attention seeking behavior will not be equal with every person. It will be vary. Mother के साथ वो सारे काम करेगा, father के साथ वो कुछ नहीं करेगा, because he know his needs might be fulfilled with him. Second most important is tangible behavior. Now, tangible behavior means कि वो किसी चीज के उसकी रिक्वायरमेंट और वी आर यूजिंग एज अ रीइंफोर्सर, उसको जब तक नहीं मिलेगा वो बिहेवियर शो करेगा. चॉकलेट मिल गया, वो सारे काम. Other may be most other thing which may be you can say is medical issues. उसको adenoids है या stomach ache है, he may not be expressive, he may not be explained. So these are the things. And the fourth one which I have told you is escape or avoidance behavior. You are teaching him a concept, उसको नहीं करना, उसके दिमाग में नहीं जा रहा. He wants to study maths, he wants to study Hindi, you are teaching him maths. So when you open the maths book, he will start doing some mischief. He either bang the table, he will look here and there, he will try to throw water on the table. All those things are escape or avoidance. But जब आप हिंदी की कॉपी लेंगे, he will start doing that. So all these things doesn't mean that the child is an ADHD. So this is the purpose. So behavioral problems, attention, tangible, escape, and avoidance. Now coming to a true ADHD. Now this is the diagnostic criteria for an ADHD child as per the DSM-5 criteria. First and foremost important thing is we cannot label a child ADHD unless and until he is an age of 4 years or plus. Any child who is before the age of 4 years or less, we cannot label him as an ADHD. Second most important thing is that it has two important components. A child can be inattentive component. Second, it may be hyperactive component. Now, in this criteria, the attention and hyperactivity, all those things have to be met in more than two settings. For example, बच्चा स्कूल में सारे काम करता है, घर पे आके वो एक काम नहीं करता. घर पे आके इधर से उधर भागेगा, वहां से इधर भागेगा, चेयर स्टेयरकेस रन करेगा, सोफे पे जंप करेगा, बट ये कंप्लेंट टीचर कभी नहीं करती. So here the scenario, the environment has changed. Why it is that child is very comfortable at school, he's doing everything, but not at the home. Now this thing for the mother it will be an ADHD, but actually the child is not an ADHD. He may be a sensory seeking, he may be an attention seeking, or it may be an avoidance, whatever may be the behavior may be. But why the child is not doing it or at school? If he's doing a similar behavior of hyperactivity or inattention in more than one settings or two settings, then we can label it as. Second thing most important is inattention के symptoms क्या हैं? Like poor listening skills, misplays, forgets very easily. So these are all the things which are there. Now these we don't want to go into the details. The important thing which we should take the message from this slide is inattention and hyperactivity can occur due to a lot of things, but the environment has to be taken into consideration. The duration of these issues has to be taken into consideration. Most important, it should be 6 to more than 6 months. ऐसा नहीं है कि आज बच्चा हाइपर एक्टिव है, एक महीना हाइपर एक्टिवेटर था, उसके बाद वो बिल्कुल ठीक रहा. Now that duration of hyperactivity or restlessness has to be taken into consideration. Either it may be medical issues, there may be some change in the diet, there may be some change in the environment, the child may be having some gut issues, or he may not be that much expressive to explain his issues or the problems. Or a child has entered into a new school, they may be phobia of, you can say auditory phobia, or they may be sensory overload by seeing too much crowd. He may get that sensory overload stimulation or sensory meltdown. He may not be able to express his thoughts to the teacher. He may have a feeling of inferiority complex. If I may tell something, the child may start laughing at him because children who are on the spectrum, they are psychologically they are very good. It doesn't make that they are MR or intellectually impaired. That doesn't understand the feelings of others. They can, but that depends upon the severity. They may not be able to understand the feeling of others, but they definitely understand their feeling, that how they will be feeling or how the other person will make laugh of them, or they may not be able to express. So as a result, they may remain in a state of isolation, that it's better if I don't speak. So that thing might happen. So those things have to be taken into a consideration before labeling a child who has an ADHD. So then we have combined criteria. It may be an attentive type, it may be an hyperactive type, or it may be predominantly inattentive, predominantly hyperactive, or it may be combined. If we meet the criteria of both inattention and hyperactive, then we can say the child lies into a criteria of ADHD. So this is the important thing about to make a diagnosis of ADHD. Now things will become more and more better clear once we go into the question and answer session. So this was a very brief about hyperactivity and ADHD. So now we'll open it to discussion with the parents, and then accordingly we'll make it more clear.
Thank you, doctor. I think excellent explanation. The first slide actually gave a, such a nice clarity into, if parents observe, they'll exactly know, they can map the behavior to that particular thing, the way you have explained the first slide. Thank you, doctor. So now we'll move on to questions. Parents, you want to raise your hand and ask questions, or you want to type it in the chat box?
Hi, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, hi.
Go ahead.
I have one question. If child is escaping from the task, okay, and task is a very important. जो एक्टिविटी कर रहा है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बट वो स्केप हो रहा है बार बार. हाउ टू कम बैक विद दैट एक्टिविटी में, मतलब कैसे उसको एक्टिविटी में दोबारा इंडल्ज किया जाए?
देखो, सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज होती है कि आप उसको पहले तो ये जानना जरूरी है कि वो अवॉइडेंस है या एस्केप है या वो अटेंशन सीकिंग. अब जैसे आप बोल रहे हैं कि वो अवॉइडेंस है, वो एस्केप कर रहा है, वो टास्क कराना जरूरी है, तो उसमें दो चीजें बहुत जरूरी हैं. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग इज, जो आप उसको टास्क करा रहे हैं, is it beyond the ability of that child, or it is the thing that he may not be able to grasp? So first and foremost important thing is that you have to judge the ability of the child. Task कराना जरूरी है as per the age of the child is not the criteria. Task कराना जरूरी है as per his ability of the child is the important thing. Okay. So हम कभी ये नहीं, क्योंकि it's a very common problem with us as a parent and as well as with any other parent, कि उसका बच्चा तो ABCD कर लेता है, मेरा बच्चा भी A भी नहीं बोल पाता, तो मुझे भी वहां तक करना है. तो आवर थिंग बिकम्स द टारगेट. अब ये 3 साल का हो गया, मुझे इसको 200 तक काउंटिंग सुनानी है, चाहे उसकी एबिलिटी 50 तक की भी ना. So this is most important thing, that we have to judge the ability of the child, our child, कि उसकी कितनी एबिलिटी है. If you feel that his ability is there to make that task do and he is avoiding that, then what thing you have to do is first and foremost उसको वहां पे आपको बिठाना है. You have to give a single instruction. You have to complete the task. Then only you will get it. For example, he is fond of computer. Okay, so you have to make one single command. AB or Amit, for example, Amit, you have to complete this task. Then only you will get the laptop. Okay. Now there should not be any confusion. There should not be any ifs and buts. अगर वो नहीं करता है, then no laptop has to be given. You have to follow a criteria of ABC. Behavior management में ABC rule is the thumb rule. A, antecedent. B is the behavior, C is the consequence. So पहले आप anticipate करिए, anticipate करिए, अगर मैं उसको बोलती हूँ या नहीं बोलूंगी तो वो क्या करेगा. अगर उसने वो बिहेवियर शो किया तो वो क्या करेगा? सो कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस। अब आपको पता है, अगर मैंने उसको बोला कि ये आपको टास्क कंप्लीट करना है और उसने ये टास्क नहीं करा, तो वो चीजें थ्रो करना शुरू कर देगा, ये करना शुरू कर देगा। सो दैट इज द कॉन्सिक्वेंस। So that consequence should not happen. So what you have to tell him, if you don't do that task, you will not be given the laptop. So here what is happening, you are using a reinforcer here so that he doesn't do that consequence. If he does that consequence, forget about the laptop, should not be given at all. अगर वहाँ पे, in that case, if you lose that war with the child, next time his hyperactivity will shoot up by 50%. He will scream for if he's screaming today for half an hour, next time he will scream for 1 hour because he knows that mama will give me. Last time उन्होंने दिया, आज भी वो दे देगी अगर मैं 1 घंटा और रुकूंगा. So this is the important.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Next question, please. There was some parent who wanted to ask. If you want, you can type it out in the chat also. I can read out for you. Or you can directly speak with the doctor. How come parents are very silent today?
I request parents, you can ask whatever questions are coming into your mind. It's
Fine.
not that it's not related to ADHD or anything. If you have any questions related to sensory or anything which are fitting or causing the behaviors, you can ask that. So we'll try to discuss on that. So it will be beneficial for everybody who is listening.
Exactly. And each parent can ask specific to their child. So, that way it will be very engaging and helpful also.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, this is Srinivas calling from Telangana state. Sir,
Yes.
actually my kid is 12 years old.
Okay.
Is diagnosed as a MR. Yeah, sir, he mostly loves to watch the vehicles which go around in our road. Mostly he stand up on the stairs and look for that, and I think most of the time he enjoys standing on the that is on route. So what shall I conclude, whether it is in a different than the MR or some other?
Okay. I'll ask you 2-3 questions quickly.
Yes, sir.
Does he get very excited while seeing the moving cars or moving trains?
No, he will not excite. Just he look and watch. No excitement will not be appear.
Okay, no excitement, but he will be looking there continuously and feel happy. Something, any expression does he give?
No expression.
Or you mean to say he gets or he gets lost in his own world while seeing that motions?
Sorry. Pardon, sir.
I'm telling. I'm telling you you have told that he doesn't get excited by seeing those cars or moving trains, but
exactly.
Does he gets lost in his own world for a few seconds while that duration of moving cars?
No, sir. No, is all right. I think he's in the conscious only. Yeah, there is no such whatever you're saying.
So what is your basic concern? He keeps on watching the cars, moving cars?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Can you give, so for example, you are going on a road and you are walking in a market with him, holding his hand, and on the road there are so many vehicles going in the direction opposite to him where he's walking. Suppose he's walking in the north direction, all the vehicles are going the south direction.
Okay.
So does he turn his head towards that south direction and continuously watches them?
Yes, sometimes.
Sometime means I would say more than 50% or how much?
Not more than, but very few times. If it is a very strange or something new which he has some image, no, so that in that case only that he will look back and for a while and then just turn it. Even not only for the vehicle, even he gaze at the people also who looks very little bit stranger.
So
in that case,
see the thing is, you have told your child is intellectually impaired.
Yes.
And he's 12 years.
Yes.
And see, this this as such, this is a visual seeking. If I talk about in terms of technical terms, it may be visual seeker. But again, that visual seeking is not that much that is disturbing the child in his routine activities,
Yes, sir.
because he's getting involved with you within a period of a few seconds just by looking them, and then he gets turned and he's conscious and everything. So you don't
Yes.
have to do much about that. If a child is a visual seeker or is seeking those movement, in that
Yes, sir.
case we have to do that. He's continuously watching them, he's getting excited, he feels laugh, he starts clapping. So in that
Okay.
case we have to do a something intervention so that his visual seeking activities get reduced. So
It's
for this, I don't think you require something or any extra effort has to be done, because
yes.
some small things definitely will be there, but as long as it's not disturbing the routine activities and day-to-day activities, you don't have to do much.
Thank you, sir. One other question, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, what happened? That he
Sit down.
repeat the
I'll mute.
yes. Yeah, sir. Actually, that this kid will sit in the what cradle and then tries to repeat the things which he has listened earlier.
Hmm.
Like a he's like a planning that I want to go there. I want to see grandmother. They maybe doing this thing or that thing. What
Hmm.
are they doing? So
Hmm.
all this chart will come out and he tries to repeat something and every time he
How
does like this.
how verbal he is?
Yes.
What is the level of his verbal?
Yeah, it's yeah. So it is not up to the mark. Still is in a childish language.
I mean,
Very,
I
little
mean,
verbose.
is he? I mean, need-based speech is there. Need-based speech. I mean, if he
Yes,
wants water, he will tell water.
yeah. Need-based speech is there. Yeah, he can manage
Okay.
maybe.
So, yeah, exactly. So that is the thing. Since the child is not having that much vocabulary, so
Sure,
whatever vocabulary he is having, he is trying to communicate through that only.
maybe.
Suppose he knows laptop. About laptop, he knows this is a keyboard, this is the camera.
Yes,
So he will be keep whenever he sees a laptop, he might be saying, "Oh, this is a laptop, Papa. It has a camera, it has a keyboard. This
yes.
is a laptop, it has a camera, it has a keyboard." Why? Because he doesn't have the vocabulary to expand the laptop beyond that. So
Okay,
my suggestion would be for you is that keep
sure.
on building his vocabulary by giving him a narration in the form of a story. Don't ask him in questions in the form of what, when, and where.
Okay,
Because if you'll ask the question in the form what, when, and where, the child already has a low speech. It's need-based speech. He's very conscious in speaking. So if you
okay,
put up the questions in the form what, when, and where, he will get more conscious. So his morale will go down. He may feel less confident to speak. So whatever
hmm,
you tell him, just describe him in the form of a story. This is a laptop. It has a mouse. It has so many keyboards. We use for browsing. We use for video, movies, etc. So that
okay.
it keeps on building him as in his memory. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have some doubt whether it may be some I have special any disease or like this, so that he will repeat. So that is it an a
See,
bothering
see
thing or
this.
little bit quiet?
See. He's is he an intellectually impaired only, or it is with autism?
Only intellectually impaired, no autism at all.
No autism. So if you talk about technical things, it is basically self-talking. Now,
Yes,
self-talking can be due to sensory issues,
yes,
but
sir.
if it is not in the spectrum, he's only an intellectually impaired. There could
Okay,
have been some reason why the child is intellectually impaired, either maybe a preterm or whatever the reasons may be. But if is but in this case, in your child case, you just have to add on the vocabulary for the child. It's a self-talking, but it's not a worrisome thing. It's just that the child is not having that much vocabulary to express things more. So in that case, you just have to build up the vocabulary by giving him more and more questions in the form of a narration. Plus, whenever you describe anything, use a map. For example, image. Don't describe him, this is a laptop, this is so. You prepare a picture of a laptop, show a mouse, show some pictures there, browsing, a child is doing keypad, and then you explain that. Because children who are on this issues intellectually impaired, they will be better to understand to and spatial language. Spatial means image language rather than describing them in the form of words if the thing is not
okay.
okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Okay, fine.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Uh, Please explain why toe walking happens and how to get rid of it in a 4 years ASD child.
Okay, see, first of all, you have to again, ADHD child, is it is a confirmed diagnosis is an ADHD?
No, he mentions ASD child, 4 years.
ASD, okay, ASD. See, ASD child is doing a toe walking, so definitely first and foremost important thing is you have to see the tactile issues are there. Now those tactile issues are there, because of that the child is doing a toe walking. Other thing, it can be vestibular input or it can be proprioceptive. Now why these things happen? Proprioceptive means the child may be seeking the pressure. He may not be getting so much pressure during his back of the sole, which is getting a pressure through the toes. So he may be taking a more pressure, because you imagine yourself walking on a toe and walking normally. So you'll feel when you walk on a toe, you get so much pressure. So he may be taking that much pressure the body may be requiring. So one thing, it may be proprioceptive, other thing may be tactile, or it may be vestibular. Now for this thing, definitely you require a sensory integration and sensory activities, how you can resolve that, how you can work on the child.
Okay.
Sorry, sir. Sorry, ma'am. Is the
Yeah.
same thing happen with the age of 16 years child?
Sorry?
Same. I have a same question. The age of the child is 16 years.
Yes.
So are you referring to toe walking, ma'am?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, see, this thing, sensory issues can happen in a child of any age. It can happen even in a child, it can happen even in an adult who is 40 years. So first and foremost, you have to see whether that toe walking is happening on a smooth surface or it is on a rough surface. This is the foremost important thing. Because if the child is doing a toe walking on a smooth surface, but is walking comfortably on a grass or road, that means the smooth surface, the pressure which is getting the texture through the smooth surface is not soothing to him. And when he walks on a road or a breaks or a grass, he gets that extra pressure or a need which is required for his sensory. So in that case, you have to increase the exposure of the child from the rough to the smooth.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
okay. So we'll move on to the next question. A 3 years boy, hyperactive, having no speech till date. Is it only speech delay or APD? APD or ASD, I think he meant. Should we get hearing test done for him?
Ma'am, auditory processing.
Okay, APD,
I mean,
APD. Okay. Yeah, you can speak directly, Akash, no problem.
that is what this is 3 years old. He's not ASD, he doesn't have autism.
APD, okay.
But I just want to confirm, is the child of 3 years he's very hyper means running around, there is no testing done till date. Should we get hearing test done for him?
Yes, ma'am. The foremost important thing, you should get a BERA test done, because a 3-year-old child is non-verbal as of stage. But if the BERA comes out to be normal, then definitely you have to need to figure out why the speech is not there. Other than that, you have to look into the sensory issues, do a sensory profiling, and then accordingly we can, evaluation has to be done. But foremost, BERA has to be done.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, okay, probably we'll pick another question. How to reduce, please suggest to reduce few visual seeking activities. Reduce visual seeking activities.
See, visual seeking activities means the child is taking a lot of visual stimulation. He's taking a lot of visual stimulation. So, yeah. So that means basically you have to work out on the stimming. Now, I'm not the right person to comment on this stimming aspect, because I'm not a sensory integration therapist. But yes, definitely, first and foremost, you have to look whether that stimming or visual seeking is that much, if it is disturbing his routine activities, affecting his academic learning, or if it is hampering his day-to-day routine. If it is hampering that, then you have to do an intervention to stop that sensory activity, the stimming. Now, stimming is something, it is a compensatory mechanism for us or for the child who's in the spectrum to reduce that sensory overload. It's just like I give you, I'll give you an example. Suppose I'm giving a lecture for the first time on the stage for 200 people. Okay, that's my first lecture. So I'll be very tense. I'll be very afraid. There'll be sweating coming on my forehead, and I'll be moving here and there. I'll be shivering. My shoulders will be moving. I'll be curling my hairs, or I'll be doing like this something. So what is this? It's basically stimming. It's basically stimming. I'm getting that sensory input. I'm getting afraid. So I'll try to take a deep breath. I'll try to squeeze my hands. I'll try to walk in and there. What I'm doing this is I'm doing stimming only, because that extra sensory overload which is happening in my body to see that so much overcrowd, or the afraidness or the the less confidence. So I start doing those activities. And when I walk, I take a deep breath. I feel little relaxed. I feel calm. My confidence level goes up, and finally I'll start my first step. So here, what is happening? I'm controlling my emotions. I'm able to control my emotions. Now, this thing doesn't happen in a child who's on the spectrum. What we call as dysregulation of emotions. So as a result, when he's taking that stimming, you have to tell, okay, you have taken this visual seeking, now come, we'll study. But he continuously takes that stimming, continuously for hours and hours. So as a result, he's not able to control that emotion. No, I don't have to do in this social scenario. Now it's my time to study. I have to come and sit. You as an external force, either the mother or the father or caregiver has to come here, pull him, take him to a nearby place, calm down, give him a hug, tell him no, it's okay. He'll be shouting, he'll be screaming, he want to do that activity. So it's basically means he's gone in a state of sensory meltdown. So if that things happen, then you have to intervene. If you tell him, okay, you don't have to do, he does it for 5 to 10 minutes in a day, and he then settles down, you don't have to. Now, first, so you have to decide whether it is hampering his activities or not. If it is hampering, what you have to do, first of all, you have to do a visual seeking activities. What visual seeking activities you can do? You close the light in a dark room, take the laser light. Now, laser light, which we use for PowerPoint presentations, and then you do those activities on the wall. So child will be looking at arrows. He should point that arrows, he will be looking at. So that is what we call as visual seeking activities. Other thing what you can do is make the child to play with the bright balls, colorful toys. So that will basically give them that sensory need which is there, and that activity should be given for at least 30 minutes in a day. Or you can take them in a dark room, use some visual flashlights. Okay, so those flashlights should be dim and go, come and go. So those will give them that sensory input which is required for them during which they seek through the visual seeking activities. So these are some of the activities which can be done for a child. But again, it has to be if it's hampering his activities or not.
Sir, what I mean to is that visual, what they look into the patterns. If I'm wearing a sari, if I'm wearing a shirt with too much of complicated designs, they are into the designs. What is that?
That is visual seeking.
Okay, हाँ, वो कैसे मतलब they are into that is
उसी
also stimming.
that is also stimming. That is also stimming.
Okay,
Children are very particular about a particular color. If they want green, they will be continuously looking at green color, whatever other color may be there. Okay, so that is what we call as visual stimming. Visual stimming का मतलब एक सिंपल भाषा में होता है कि एक चीज को देख के वो इतना फैसिनेट हो जाता है कि वो उसी में ही खो जाता है.
the books के पीछे जो last page होता है वो छोटा छोटा लिखा होता है, they are so focused on that. Every time you open the book, they want to see the back of the book. Very small publication written.
हाँ, तो
Or you look into designs of the shirt or that shit.
They can be ample number of things through which they can take the visuals. Even you might see अगर आपका टीवी चल रहा है, नीचे टीवी के नीचे जब न्यूज आती है एबीपी, उसके नीचे हेडलाइंस आती हैं, उनको देख के भी बच्चे फैसिनेट हो जाते हैं वो मूवी के लिए. So there are a lot of things, there are ample number of things. So you need to work with an OT, you need to work with a sensory integration therapist to work on this visual seeking exercise.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, doctor. Thank you. Patiently answering all the questions. I think parents, we can take one probably last question and then we'll wind up. Anybody
Yeah,
else
hi.
wants to ask anything? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, this is Mangesh. I just wanted to ask, my child is 5 years old, 5.5 years old, diagnosed with ASD and ADHD. Now, just wanted to ask about his one particular, uh, observation that we have. So he doesn't respond to a lot of the commands or our speech. He doesn't really. It appears that he is not paying attention. He does follow some things, here and there, and he is mostly non-verbal. Very little words here and there. But when it comes to music or songs, he is very, he recalls everything. Something he might have heard 2 years back. Also, he'll sing, and those words, although not clear, the lyrics he is able to pick up, and he also sings with those lyrics. So what is this? Like, what kind of, what does this fall into?
See, this is something not unusual which you are telling for your child, but yes, definitely for you it might be an unusual thing. See, first of all, the most important thing regarding I will tell you for the first part. that he follows somewhat here and there commands, somewhat maybe randomly. So first and foremost important thing is how about his eye contact. Unless and until doesn't have a eye contact, you can't expect the child to follow any command. So how about his eye contact? You have to look into his eye contact. If it is poor or if it is not respond, if he responds only to 50% of the cases, then you have to see how about his response to call name. Now response to call name may be with the parents but may not be with the third person. So you have to work on the response to call name. So for these, there are some protocols or some things are there, what we call as discrete trial training, DIT. So those you have to work on. Once is improve eye contact and response to call name improves, then you have to look into the identification. What about this identification? Does he can recognize the basic things at the home TV, television, screen, table, mama, papa, everything. Now, if he is able to identify those things, then you have to go to a single word command. And before that, you have to go into the imitations. Imitations means copying. Suppose अगर आप उसको बोलें, first thing is physical imitation. Clap करा क्या उसने clap किया, आपने nose touch करी उसने nose touch किया. Then you go for verbal imitations or action imitations. उसके बाद हम जाते हैं commands. So you are directly jumping on the command. So before that, we have to see, does the child meet these prerequisites for the speech to come? If it doesn't, then we can't expect the child to go and follow a one word. After one word command, we have to go to the two word command. Then comes the complex command. So then comes the further one. So this is the first regarding your query regarding here and there listens and all. Now the second thing what you are telling is regarding the music. He is able to listen to the whole music and he may be very happy. So the thing is that again, he may be what we call as something which we call as savant ability, SAVANT, in the child who are on the spectrum. They have some unusual activity or unusual ability to do some things which you can't expect a child of that particular age. For example, a 3-year-old child maybe start learning, maybe start doing Marathi, maybe start doing Telugu, maybe English, German, Spanish, and but you have never told him at all. But he may be knowing, and you may be surprised that the kids may learn through the YouTube. They may learn some dance to the YouTube because 90% of the kids, whether they are spectrum or a neurotypical, will be exposed to the gadgets, and that too in this COVID times, definitely they'll be exposed. So they may be grasp those things here and there, but definitely the thing is that he may be describing those lyrics, he may be enjoying that lyrics, but he doesn't know the meaning of that. He may not be knowing the meaning of those, but he just enjoys that because it feels his sensory body gets very satisfied. He feels happy. But it doesn't
Okay.
mean that, yeah. So that is the.
So we say that, or we consider him to be attention deficit, or so is it selective in this deficit?
See, the thing is,
Okay.
you and we can't consider that he is selective or he is true. It has to be fit into the criteria. And as before in the beginning of the presentation, I have told, majority of the times we do label a child as an ADHD with autism, irrespective of thinking whether it's a true ADHD or it is the ADHD due to the pre-existing or the predisposing factors. Now, in your child, I believe he may not be a ADHD child. The things which are happening here is his speech is not very up to the mark. That may be disturbing him, that he may not be able to express his things, he may not be able to express his demands, he may start showing behavior. He not be able to identify the things. Suppose I want a biscuit that may be up in the second shelf, he not be able to tell you, or he may not be able to show the gesture. So he may start jumping, he may start shouting, and you may feel he's an ADHD child. He may not be comfortable with the third person who is coming at the home. He may be having anxiety issues. He may be running here and there. You may label it as an ADHD child. So those things have to be taken into consideration before making a diagnosis of an ADHD.
Okay, got you, doctor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Lalit.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll wrap up. Doctor has been speaking for almost an hour now. Any other last question, or we are?
Yeah, doctor, how to control the anxiety of a 6-year-old child? These children of, I don't know, ADHD.
Is he in the spectrum or is a neurotypical?
नहीं, इस स्पेक्ट्रम में ADHD हो सकता है या hyperactive but not ASD. She is not ASD child.
ठीक है.
The child is delayed, development delayed. speech has just come up and she's using verbally with tuta futa meaningful. She has a very meaningful speech language, but the anxiety is that about very specific, more over pampered. What parents tell, she's very pampered because of it. She doesn't want to listen no. Many of the children, they don't want to listen no. They won't do what they want. And if you say no, then they will cry or they will be stubborn, what moody, whatever we can give any name to them. So how to handle these children?
कि सबसे पहले तो आपने जवाब खुद ही दे दिया कि पैम्पर्ड है. The most important thing is
Yes.
अगर हम ठीक है. So other thing is you have to little bit other thing is the COVID times. ठीक है. कोविड में एंजाइटी लेवल्स एक 40, 50, 60 साल लोगों के भी इतने ज्यादा हो गए हैं दैट दे रिक्वायर अ साइकोलॉजिकल हेल्प. सो अ चाइल्ड हु इज 6 इयर्स डेफिनेटली उसके एंजाइटी, अ चाइल्ड हु इज 6 इयर्स उसके भी उतने ही एंजाइटी लेवल्स होंगे. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी हैव टू सी कि घर में और जो लोग हैं उनके एंजाइटी लेवल्स कैसे हैं. So if we as a parents are also having an anxiety level, we can't expect the child to be slowed down. So our approach to Dipanwita, can you please mute? Yeah. Am I audible now?
One second, hold on. One second. Dr. Prince, can you please mute yourself? I'm not able to mute you. Somebody by name Dr. Prince Azad. I'm not able to mute you. Okay, doctor, go ahead.
Yeah. So where I was, yeah. So we have to look into the anxiety issues of the family also. अगर घर में सारे ही anxious होंगे तो बच्चा भी एक anxious होगा ही. So first we have to.
Sorry to, yes sir, you are very correct. The grandparents are very they are into depression. What they tell, that they do have a lot of anxiety because of COVID and all.
Exactly.
Too much of. I agree with you.
Yeah. So and other thing is that the third most important thing is our approach towards the child. Whatever you say no, don't say no, because you know he's a 6-year-old child and you say no. You want a logical reasoning why you are telling no to this thing. आपने simple no बोल दिया, they will feel that they are not dominant and you are dominant and you are doing a dominant behavior on them. You have to give. Suppose आप कोई काम कर रहे हैं, आपको सीधा नो बोल दिया जाए, आपको कितना बुरा लगेगा. मुझे क्यों नो बोल रहे हो, मैं जो कर रही हूँ वो सही कर रही हूँ, या मुझे रीजन दो लॉजिकल कि मैं ये क्यों कर रही हूँ, मेरे को ऑल्टरनेटिव. सिमिलरली इज फॉर द चाइल्ड को हम एक फ्रेंड की तरह बात करेंगे, ना कि एज अ किड एंड एज अ पेरेंट. तो वहां पे दिक्कत आ जाती है. अब आप उसको नो, आपने बोला नो की बजाय आप उसको बोलो, सपोज वो दीवार पे कुछ लिख रहा है, आपने बोला नो डू इट ऑन द पेपर, वो और करेगा क्योंकि आपने उसको रीजन नहीं दिया. उसको बोलो दीवार पे नहीं करना, दीवार गंदी हो जाती है. तो हियर आई एम टेलिंग नो टू हिम, but directly I am not telling no. I am just framing my sentence in a different way. Okay, like you don't have to make a drawing on the wall. The walls will get dirty. Prepare a drawing on a flow chart or prepare a drawing on a sheet that is used for drawing. It will be more beneficial. It will be more good. People will like it. You are a good boy. So something like that. Give him, tell your meaning, tell your thing also, and also praise the child's family. You never use the word directly no to the child.
Doctor, she asks lots of questions. She's always talking, and she's always asking questions. Ye kya? That is due to anxiety only.
That depends. That depends. Now through this 2 minutes talk, I can't tell you, but yes, I have told you the things where you have to look. फैमिली के इश्यूज कैसे हैं, एंजाइटी इश्यूज हैं या नहीं, फैमिली में लोग कैसे हैं, ज्यादा शोर तो नहीं करते, चिल्लाते तो नहीं है, एंजाइटी तो नहीं है, हर बात में बच्चे के ऊपर चिल्लाते नहीं है या उससे आराम से बात करते हैं, बच्चे के एंजाइटी इश्यूज कैसे हैं, कोविड टाइम्स है उसमें भी हो सकता है, और लोग अप्रोच कैसी है बच्चे की तरफ, मे बी आपकी ठीक हो या पापा शायद डांटते हो. सो ऑल दोस थिंग्स हैव टू बी टेकन इनटू कंसीडरेशन बिफोर गोइंग इनटू अ मेडिकल डायग्नोसिस ऑफ एंजाइटी.
True. I agree. Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. Wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, parents, for joining in. Yeah, we'll wrap it now. So I'm closing the door. Thank you very much, doctor, for patiently answering all the questions. And thank you, parents, for joining in.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a very wonderful session.
Exactly.
I want कि ये दोबारा भी whenever you get time और especially आप हमारे लिए time निकालो तो I want कि आप next time भी जरूर करो. Like आपने पूरा का पूरा questions में सब कुछ clear up कर दिया. That's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, doctor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Bye bye.
Good night.